Sumisola Okue. She owns an array of businesses that caters for the needs of different people. Now, the Sumisola Foundation is a non-profit organization that focuses on different aspects of abuse women and children encounter on a daily basis in Nigeria. It was established in 2016. The foundation raises awareness of physical, psychological, sexual, and emotional abuses in Nigeria. And the aim is to help survivors of domestic violence, rape, child abuse, female child mutilation, and illegal circumcision to make a life of themselves after those kind of abuses. We are glad to have you this morning join us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, let's start by what motivated you. What was the motivation behind going into this kind of, venture?
Okay, so over in the UK, having gone through, sexual trauma and everything, it's open and it's been spoken about everywhere. So it's not something that you talk about in private and everything like that. Everybody is aware of what is going on in the world and in that sort of sense. So, and I had personal experience with like my friends who have been through it or I've heard their stories, and it kind of inspired me to want to do something about it in Nigeria, because everyone that I've spoken to that have been through it in Nigeria, they don't have the resources and they didn't go through like the sort of help other people do in Western world. So that's what motivated me to start this.
You just said something that caught my attention. She said things she's been through it. So can you kind of give us like a little bit of what you've experienced? There's this conspiracy of silence. People that have gone through rape or they've been abused sexually in one way or the other. They can't really come up to speak out
about
what has you experienced?
How are you able to come
through
it? So this happened when I was a child. I really can't even specify on the age, but it happened when I was a child, and the fact that somebody that was given, a chance to look after me took advantage of that opportunity, it kind of put in my mind a certain way about looking about men in general. Do you understand? So when I left Nigeria and I relocated to the UK, I saw it as a thing of not to be ashamed of, because it was never my fault. Because at the end of the day, I didn't really have a choice in whatever happened. So that's what motivated me personally to be like, okay, I want to make a difference, because I don't want someone else to go through that and feel the same way as I did. Because the issue is, mentally it affects you more than it does physically. You understand? The physical aspect of it is only for a moment, but the trauma that it leaves behind is a lifetime worth of trauma. So it's coping with that, moving on from that, learning to better yourself, empower yourself, and know that there's something else that you can do with your life apart from, just being in a really dark cloud.
Okay. You know that rape in Nigeria, to be specific, it's been some crazy. Funny enough, we don't really have statistics.
We don't.
Yeah, people that are affected by rape. But so far, what do you think could actually be done to? We're not looking at the ability to eradicate it completely, but we could bring it to the barest minimum.
Yes. In my opinion, from what I've known from other people and the researches that I have done, personally, I think is reforming the laws surrounding abuse in general needs to be changed in Nigeria, because there are places in Nigeria that if you have been abused, you would victim shame and victim blame the person, because you would think, okay, what were you doing, or what were you wearing, what time did you go out, do you understand, did you go to the person's house? Like, those are the kind of questions that even people of authority ask these people.
But like in your case, you didn't do any of them.
Yeah, do you understand? Like in my case, I was a child, so what does a child know in that sort of situation? What sort of advances can a child give to a fully grown as adult that would make them feel comfortable to do that? So it's just also training our kids to know that no means no. Training them from schools. It needs to start from schools, because education is a very big aspect of this, because it's being uneducated that brings people out of this thing and making them feel like they are okay to do certain things because of, they feel like I have a right, I'm a man. In Nigeria, everything has to do with the man is first, the woman is always the second person. You're never valued as important as a man. And in these cases, we need to make everybody realize that everyone's equal. We should have the same blood running through our veins. There's nothing different about us. It's just our sexes that are different. So
when you were saying, talking about your experience earlier on, you mentioned the fact that it made you form an opinion about men. Has that opinion changed? What is it? How do you feel about men? I'm sorry about your your situation in the past when you were abused, but what opinion do you have about men because of that experience?
Because of that experience, you're very vigilant. There's no one that I know that has been through something like that won't tell you that they are very vigilant. You have to just take extra care and extra precaution when you're dealing with men, because you don't want to look at them the wrong way, because you might be giving them, a sign that you might not even classify as a sign, but they might take it on as, oh, you're making advances towards them or stuff like that. So it's just, you're just more vigilant. You're aware of your surroundings. When you go out, you're very vulnerable because it's happened to you. So you have flashbacks, different things like that affects the way you look at men. And then certain things are triggered. Things trigger a lot of people. You understand? There could be a word that person could have used with them that would trigger them whenever someone else says it. And it affects a lot of women in relationships, because the confidence that they have, the self-confidence and everything goes away because they don't have really high self-esteem and everything, and it affects the way they look at themselves. So it's just...
But you look like you've passed through that
definitely.
Totally.
I went through therapy.
What helped you pass through everything
going
to regain your self-confidence?
Definitely. Therapy was the best gift my parents could have done. Like, letting me go through therapy and not judging and not victim shaming, because I'm just so happy that I have parents that I do, because other people, from their experiences, is like they can't speak to their parents. So being able to speak to one's parents helps a lot, or speaking to someone that is older than you, that you trust, that you know that always has your back, is the most important thing, because you always have that person to fall back on and to speak to.
You're somebody that has been fortunate to have a parent that would actually listen and even sought help for you.
That it wasn't your fault.
Sought help for you. But in this society now, that's to a very large extent, we say love people, we have a dysfunctional society whereby parents can't give their kids, or even caregivers can't give people they are transferring this care to this opportunity for them to be vocal. What do such persons do?
Okay, in my opinion, I think we should look at more helplines where people can call. Because, for example, because my examples are always from the UK, because that's where I was brought up, that's where I know. So in the UK, there's a number that any time of the day, no matter what situation you're in, you call that number as a child. It's called Child Helpline. You call that number, no matter what you've gone through, no matter what's happening to you right now, they listen to you. They have saved so many lives of people that want to kill themselves, or people that have been through so much trauma that all they think about is how to end their life, and they've saved so many lives. They work with police. They work with the police. They work with the law firms and different things like that to help people. So we need to have more of that in Nigeria, and not just a number that we know is just for rape victims or rape survivors. It's a number that anybody going through any sort of depression, any sort of anxiety can call at any point in your life and speak to people, and they can help you out.
I was just trying to compare, the differences, we have in Nigeria and the UK, where you were based. Now, imagine having access to a phone at every point in time, having access to connection, telecommunications, and all of that. Some of the children are raped in very local, rural neighborhoods, where sometimes there's no telecommunication facilities and all of that, and so they are so helpless that even reaching out to the next neighbor is not very safe. They can't do that. In a situation like that, what else do you think could be in the card holder?
Having centers in every region, in every area. You can have, like, for example, Apapa. There should be a center in Apapa for everyone to be able to go to free of charge. Because the thing is, what scares people is how much would they ask me to pay for this help that I want to go and sort out. Do you understand? And money shouldn't be the most important thing when it comes to people going through trauma. The first thing you should think about is how to bring that person back, how to encourage that person to realize that there's more to life than what has happened to them, how to live their life to the fullest, how to make the best of their situation, and know that, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and just know that no matter what you go through, we are always going to be there for you. As a country, as a society, we should be able to encourage each other in that aspect without feeling like you're being judged or you're being, looked at in a different way. You're a second-class citizen now because of you've been through something like that.
You made mention, during the course of your conversation, you made mention of how you were able to go through with therapy and it helped you. Now, we're staying in a society whereby a therapy session, it's over 50,000 naira. Yes.
Some people.
So
Wow.
now, yes,
Some
some of
people
it.
charge that much.
Yes, that.
Wow.
Yes. Some of these people can't even afford
For that.
the $1 meal
Yeah.
that used to be 150 naira.
Yeah.
That was in several years ago. Now
Oh,
we're
right,
looking
yeah,
at
like-
about 400 or 300 plus.
Oh, wow.
So how can you be able to afford such? It's quite.
It should be
worrisome.
provided by the government. For everybody should be able to sort out therapy going through trauma. People that go through PTSD, they should be able to have mental health and mental checkup and everything like that.
Okay,
Everybody
when
should be
you say
entitled to
PTSD, sorry, when you say PTSD, for the benefit of our viewers,
Yeah.
Okay.
you could mention the
What the
words, yeah,
PTSD
because
is.
it's
Okay,
an
PTSD
acronym.
means
Post-
post traumatic stress.
Stress,
That's what it means. So
Yeah.
anyone that's been through any sort of trauma, people go through trauma. For example, people in the army,
yeah.
that's a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
People in hospitals, like doctors and nurses, have trauma as well, because dealing with certain patients and everything like that, it can affect your psyche and everything. So PTSD happens to everyone in this world might have faced it one way or the other. So going through something like that, you should be able to be given as a person that lives in a country that, you know, I don't know about the way taxes work here, but over there your taxes, everybody pays something towards the services that they're receiving. Even if it's minimum that you pay, you still receive a service, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from. They don't discriminate, none of that. But in Nigeria, it's very hard to find people that are willing to give up those sessions for free. So that's why NGOs come into play. NGOs are providing like places for people to go and feel like they're comfortable, they're at home and everything like that. So that's just what it is right now in Nigeria. But we'll get there. I have faith that Nigeria will get to a stage where everybody will be entitled to just the downright common everything that other countries have.
So because of that vacuum, do you have are you working on helping the Nigerian society overcome
Yes,
that
so
kind of
what
stuff?
I'm trying to do, if God help me, I'm trying to do is have a rehabilitation center where people that have been through trauma, not only just rape, domestic violence, child mutilation, child abuse, even anyone can come to that has been through any sort of trauma. They'll be able to be housed there for as long as they need. We would like to empower them when it comes to like work. Let's say you are a businesswoman or scheme and different things like that. We'll just empower them. Or if you're looking for a job, we'll help with your CV, help with you applying for jobs and things like that. And not only that, therapy, because what happens to you mentally after you've been through trauma, no matter what kind of trauma it is your life is for the rest of your life. You're going to have that at the back of your mind, and it's how to cope with it at the back of your mind, how to realize that, okay, I've been through this is my trigger, these are what triggers me, but this is how I can overcome those triggers, this is how I can overcome those fears and things like that. That's what I'm trying to have done in Nigeria, where we can eradicate the stigma. There's a stigma with being abused or being a domestic violence victim or survivor, because they just see you as you are weak. You can't be weak because you never had, it wasn't up to you to have that happen to you. So you're not the weak person. The weak person is the person that did it to you.
The abuser.
It's the abuser.
Yeah.
So
okay, you know what? Rape is actually, we've seen it over time. They're kind of intertwined with domestic violence.
yeah,
The domestic violence, let's say the executioner goes ahead to work on your psyche and make you feel horrible, useless with yourself and all. So talking about domestic violence now, it's a serious issue.
it's a serious issue.
We've seen domestic violence that have led to several deaths in Nigeria.
Yeah.
What's your take on this issue?
Domestic violence, first of all, nobody should have a right to touch or threaten anybody, because you didn't create that person. That's my explanation of it. I didn't make you. I'm not God. I don't have a right to determine what happens to your life. Do you understand? So the more people, and it's a cultural thing in Nigeria where once you're married, you belong to that man. He has paid your bride price. So anything that happens to you in that home is between you and your husband. Nobody wants to hear about it. I've heard of cases of women going to the police station and saying, my husband raped me. They're like, your husband cannot rape you. He's your husband. You're his property.
They do that.
And that's really wrong, because why are you telling that woman that she's not worth anything because she's married to a certain person? the fear of the fact that, oh, where would I go to when I leave this? Like a lot of women, if you ask them, they want to leave those situations, but they can't afford to because financially they're not stable enough to leave. So we need to provide a system where women are not in fear of, if I leave, what would happen to me and my children. We need to have a system where women know that if I leave, I have something else going for me. That's not the end of my life. That's not the end of the world for me. So with domestic violence, we need to just understand that men need to understand in particular that you don't own anybody.
Right.
No matter if you pay the bride price, because it's illegal.
Well, in
or maybe we should change the bride price thing, or what?
No, it's not even. Other countries have bride prices.
Right.
It's not just Nigeria that has bride prices, but in Nigeria, it's a cultural thing where it's your husband. You hear it, even your mother. You can go and report your husband to your mother. Like, it's your husband now. Like, listen to your husband. That's it. It's not about we are in this together. We went halves on this marriage. It's not. You have a higher percentage in this marriage than I do. Because you provide for me doesn't mean I don't provide in other ways. I provide in terms of taking care of the kids. I provide in terms of looking after the house, cooking for you, all of that. That's my own contribution to the marriage. Your contribution is financial, but you don't own me. You don't own my children. That's just how I see.
So in cases of domestic violence, where do people seek help?
They seek help. There are helplines. Apparently, there are helplines right now in Lagos State that I've heard of that you can call, and you can speak to people about it. And there are cases where, even from those helplines, there have been, criminal charges brought onto some men from things that they have done. I think if more of that is happening, where people are seeing, it needs to be documented. It needs to be broadcasted. That touch somebody you can't just touch anybody. I find it very barbaric for someone to feel like they can just touch you and do whatever they want with you because they in their own mind, the entitlement that's the issue. That's the word, the entitlement. We have an issue with entitlement in Nigeria. Everybody is entitled to everything, and once you realize that you're actually not entitled to this person, you start to realize that, okay, let me step back and just look at this from the outside. And that's why I said with education, we need to educate the kids, because the next generation, if they're seeing their parents reacting that way, where their father is always beating their mom and stuff, that child is always going to see it as, that's how we show love in our family. That's how daddy communicates with mommy. We need to start with school. In schools, teachers need to train these kids and let these kids understand that no means no. You don't have a right to touch anybody. If someone says they don't want you, just accept it. Everybody goes through things where you feel like, okay, I have failed, or somebody has, put me to the side, but it doesn't give you the right to now attack that person because you are not happy with their response to your question or their response to your advances. So we can't just allow it to carry on. It needs to stop at one point. We need to all realize that it needs to stop. So
Quite revealing. But I'm just trying to imagine how long you think this might take us, to get to that level where the laws are strengthened. People are quite orientated enough, people are educated enough to see that the same rights you have as a man.
And there's this consciousness?
Yeah, and there's that statewide consciousness where you know that, okay, the same rights you have are the same rights this person have, no matter the sexes, no matter the fact that you bear the title of my wife and your husband and stuff like that. Do you see that happening anytime soon?
I'm not going to lie. I don't know if for right now, but the fact that people are taking a stand and people are voicing out what is happening is a start. The issue is people don't talk about it as much. We need to have it. It needs to be a public discussion where you should be open enough to talk about it with your friends, with your family. And family should not look down on people that have come up to them and told them these things. People talk to their family members and they feel some type of way afterwards because this auntie is saying, "Oh, I've been through it, but if you want to stay in your marriage, that's what you have to go through." That's not a way. It shouldn't be. That shouldn't be the foundation of your relationship. You shouldn't have to go through torture to survive in a relationship or to say you are married or anything like that. So I don't know how long it might take Nigeria for now, but we are getting there, and I pray we get there very soon because it's getting out of hand.
But in a situation whereby it will be like she caused it, she pushed me into that because.
But if you were in a workplace, would you hit your other co-workers because they did something to you? Would you do that?
No, you wouldn't.
Okay, so if you have respect for that person, why can't you not have respect for your own wife?
I know that I cannot hit marketing because their work ethics, their rules governing. you
So
know,
why
the
are they not
workplace.
who's governing your
So,
relationships?
but in the relationship in the house, like we said earlier on, there's this
Entitlement.
entitlement mentality. That's my wife.
Yeah.
You define the rules and stuff like that. So probably,
Maybe once we have a special force, task force that deal with things like that, that if a woman calls and says, my husband has done this or he threatens me, the thing is Nigeria likes force. They want people to come and show their strength. So you want to show your strength, you show your strength in the court. You show your strength, you tell a judge why you feel comfortable enough to touch somebody that is not your property. Nobody is anybody's property. That's slavery. If you say this person is your property, you are enslaving that person, which is illegal. And the thing is, people don't know their rights in Nigeria. Everybody has rights, down to an infant. You have a right, and the more we know that we have a right, we'll stand up for our rights. The more these people start to realize that okay, we don't actually have as much control over these people as we thought. So we need to, broadcast all these rights and human rights. Everyone has basic human rights. Even if you feel like your government is failing you, you can seek out international help. The UN is there, WHO is there, all these different foundations and NGOs are there. If you feel like your governments are not helping you, reach out to other people, reach out to other NGOs that you know about. There are other NGOs that you can speak to that are not Nigerian owned or based, where you can still speak to and they can help you and they can sort out something for you.
and do you think there should be some kind of communication prior to marriage where we can define our rights? For example, I come up to you, I want to marry you. And
Yeah.
we should have that conversation that, in as much as I'm going to say yes to you, I want to be your wife. Understand the fact that I'm not the property.
Yeah.
Understand the fact that okay, there are limits to what you can do. I have
Yeah.
rights. I can sue you and all of that.
Mhm.
Do you think maybe probably that kind
But
of
should that
thing
even be a
discuss?
conversation? That shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. Like
we are
everyone
faced
should
with this.
know.
But we're
We're
faced with
faced with
this
this
because
crisis.
at the end of the day, you marry, even going to your parents and say, "I'm in an abusive relationship. I
Yeah.
want to back out."
Yeah.
The African tradition, the Nigerian
Yeah,
part of,
you,
no,
you
you
can't
can't
leave.
leave.
You can't
You
leave.
have
at
to
all.
stay
You have
with
to
your
stay.
marital
It's
vows.
for better, for worse.
Yeah.
You remember those kind of clauses
Yeah.
when you're exchanging vows, So that's why I was thinking maybe we should have this kind of conversation before marriage. It could help to an extent. You don't think so?
The conversation should even be had in schools. It should be had in universities, in workplaces.
Right.
Do you understand? At a place of employment, you can't do this and that.
Yeah.
And at a place of employment, there need to be disciplines for men that have been brought up as domestic violent men or people that have abused their wives or raped their wives or stuff like that. Those kind of men should not even be in a place of where they're in a position of where they have work or they have something, because when we have when you do something, there should be accountability for everything that you do.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't have in Nigeria. Nobody's accountable for anything that they do. Even the government are not accountable for a lot of things that they do because people don't speak up enough. I feel like the more voices we have,
Yeah.
the louder we are. And social media is amazing right now because it's on social media you find out a lot of these things are going on. And it's from social media the government are even finding out some of these cases
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're prosecuting people because of all these things.
But in a situation whereby caregivers or parents are the ones that are the perpetrators of domestic violence,
Yeah.
and they feel is my child or she's my daughter or I'm her guardian, I have a right over her.
Yeah.
We've seen people going ahead to use pressing iron to place or
That's
heat
child
her or
abuse. That's
something.
not there's a thin line, not even a thin line, there's a line between discipline and abuse.
Yeah.
You are disciplining your child, you are letting them know you have done this wrong, this is why I'm punishing you, and that's and then there's a Yoruba saying that you use one hand to beat a child and use the second hand to pull them, bring them back. Do you understand? That's discipline. Abuse is when you know yourself that you wouldn't want someone to do that to you. The fact that you're doing it to someone else because you feel like you have the power and you're entitled to doing that to that person, that is where the line is drawn. You need to know the difference between disciplining your child and abusing your child. There's a case of a woman that put pepper in her daughter's private part because of she felt like the child was making advances towards an older man. This is a child. What does a child know? You are the mother. You are meant to be the person that this child wants to when anything happens to them. And that child now has a fear of that woman because I can't trust mommy because mommy is always going to take this person's side.
Yeah.
So we need to understand as parents as well, because I'm a parent as well. I definitely am for disciplining your child. If your child is doing something, let them understand what they're doing is wrong. But there's a line between child abuse. Because anything that you do that leaves a mark on somebody's body, that's not discipline anymore. That's abuse at that point.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear the fact that you can actually talk about discipline because in the UK, like in some Western countries,
Yeah,
child rights and everything. So even spanking a child could land you, someone can call 911.
But depends on
and
what you do.
All of those kind of stuff.
Because depends on your level of discipline. They tell you in the UK, there's no law that says you should not, scold your child. But it's when you're excess. Scolding a child is fine. That's you don't do that. You tap them on the hand or you smack them once on the bum. But it's when you're repeating it and the thing is, emotional abuse is also part of this thing. Domestic violence has a lot to do with emotional abuse. So you scolding your child, that's fine. But when you are calling, you're stupid, you're mad, all those kind of words, you're not helping, because all that child sees is, I'm stupid, I'm nothing. My mom says I'm nothing. My dad says I'm nothing. That you need to find other ways of speaking to your kids, because there are other people with other other races that discipline their kids, and they don't even need to touch their child before that child knows that, okay, I'm in trouble. Right. You can have your child should not fear you to the level where they are scared of, if I drop this pen, mom is going to do this. Just that you should have a balance between being a parent and also being sort of like a friend, someone your child can come and speak to and open up to as well.
All right, viewers, we've been with Oluwasimisola Okoa. Thank you very much. It's really been amazing. Before we wrap up this segment, because we have another segment before call it a day, it's really unfortunate that we couldn't have you earlier to really talk better.
Yeah.
But we hope to have you whenever you're in the country.
Yeah, whenever I'm around.
Yeah, so please, what are your final words to domestic violence victims and rape victims that are going through a lot but don't want to speak out and feel they're alone?
Just know that you're not alone. For example, I've been through it. You are not alone. There are people out there. There's a community out there that are willing to support you and help you through it. And even in Nigeria, there are a lot of them. You can Google it. Even if you don't have the services, you can find out through newspapers. There are newspapers that let you know about all these NGOs and different numbers and stuff like that. There are helplines that are free. Even if you can't afford it, it's free of charge to speak to someone and find someone that you can confide in, that has your back. And if you feel like the authorities are not doing what they should do to support you, just talk to someone. The first step is speaking up about it. The more you speak up about it, the less it weighs on you. And just know that you're not alone. That's my final words. You're not alone.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.